All right, let's talk about suspensions and grace notes. A suspension is pretty easy. A suspension just suspends a note either above the target or below the target, okay? So in this case, this is a sus4. This is the fourth that would want to resolve down to the third. Or we can do a sus2, the two wanting to resolve up to the third. Some people also want to say that's sus2 as well, resolving down to the root. Okay, kind of heard both ways on that. So if you have a sus2, you can play it like that or play it like that. Okay, sus4, resolving down to the third. Sus4. You can also do a suspension on a sixth. Fifth, 6 to 5, right? So you have a 4 to 3, 6 to 5, and a 2 to 1. Now, typically, if I'm thinking about that sus2, I would be thinking of it this way. So that's the 2 going to the 1, right? The 4 going to the 3, the 6 going to the 5, right? So if you're taking the triad and replacing any of those notes with their suspension, it would be sus2 to the 1, sus4 to the 3, sus6 to the 5. Okay? Now, grace notes, what we can do is we can use these suspensions as well as grace notes, and right? Now one that's very common is that ninth going up to the third. Or the ninth going to the 1, to the root. The fourth up to the fifth. Down to the fifth. All right, so you can play around with those suspensions moving to the root, the third, or the fifth. Notice I didn't do the sixth up to the seventh. Okay, you could do that, but if it was the G chord, right, it would sound better if it was that G chord. And then at that point, it's no longer the sixth going to the seventh. Now we're thinking of it as 2 going to 3, right? Now, you might also be wondering, why am I saying 2, 4, and 6 rather than 9, 11, and 13? Because I've been talking nines and, all along. The reason is 2, 4, and 6, this is just a theory thing, okay? 2, 4, and 6, we call it 2, 4, and 6 because it's replacing 1, 3, or 5, okay? It is not being added in addition to, right? And normally when it's being added in addition to, like something like this, we would think of that as the ninth because it's not replacing the root, okay? But in this case, it's the 2 because it's replacing the root. Okay? So that's how I understand it. That's how I choose to look at it. Honestly, that's it's minutia, and it's not really something that's super important. You call it 2, 4, and 6, 9, 11, and 13. Musicians will know what it is that you're talking about, and they're not going to bust you up about that. So anyways, that's your suspensions and your grace notes. When I come back, I'm going to kind of put it all together, and I'm going to play, and I'm going to record a MIDI file of it as well, so that you can take that MIDI file and slow it down, watch it, etc., etc. So I'll see you in the next chapter.